gotta check this out.
This is my 22. It's a 12 by 22. It was cut down. Like 40s, 50s, George Way, right? The original Camco lugs, which are now DW, were started by George Way. Anyways, this had a bunch of Rogers stuff on there. I didn't want that one. I basically cut, this is an old piece of a Zildjian cymbal that I cut out, sanded on there. Anyways, I'm putting a new head on here because we're talking about something that came out this weekend at NAMM. Now, I've had it for a while. It's Low Boy. Let me give you a little thing. We're going to talk about this. So when they sent it, the guy's presentation is always amazing. They sent this a little piece of wood, laser cut with my name, a little information about it. It's called the Puff Daddy. I called it the Puff Daddy. It's brilliant. So as you know, I play a lot of jazz. Play a lot of weird stuff, play a lot of jazz. For as long as I can remember, people were looking for that perfect vintage soft bass drum beater. And I was very lucky. I worked at a vintage drum shop forever, and I had some of those 30s, 40s, real lamb's wool beaters. They're amazing. They're very hard to come by. Well, they're getting more and more hard to come by. And there's just something about the sound that nothing they make now, nothing comes really close. And the sad thing for here is I don't have any of my vintage beaters because I sent the Low Boy guys some 8 months ago or whenever this was, when we were first talking about this. One of the things about the old beaters is most of the times they had a heavy wood core, very, very soft outside. So if you went for it and smacked the bass drum, you could hear the wood. You could hear that it actually did something. I've never really liked super light beaters, and that's why I love all the Low Boy stuff. I feel like to engage a head, especially on a big drum or a small drum, to really get a sound, it should have some weight behind it. And to me, that's really important. The guys at Low Boy have been working on a vintage style soft beater. And I have to say that I've actually recorded a couple albums with this. I used it on a movie soundtrack, and I am in love with this beater because it actually does a couple of things that the vintage ones don't do. You still got heavy, you've got a wood core, but let's talk about it. So there is a channel cut, and inside here is a piece of real nice and furry and really soft lamb skin. All right, and so you can kind of see the middle area has been cut a little closer than the side, right? So what it actually does is the side puffs out away from the wood edge. When you're playing lightly, you're just getting that little like cloud. When you smack it, you're getting a little bit more contact because what's happening is this wood ledge is kind of reacting against that felt. So it works really good with a bass drum. You can really see and I guess hear. You can hear what's going on. All right, so super warm. So it's set up to get a lot of different sounds. You still have that really puffy cushion sound, and when you lay into it, you can actually get really loud. So this is tuned really down, no internal muffling, so you're not going to get like any super Pantera sounds with that. I mean, it'd be very hard to do it anyways. If you hit hard enough. But now, let's put the 18 up. Okay, So 18's very much the same way, a little bit different. This is actually tuned down, a little bit thicker head on here, just because of gigs I had to do recently. But you still got a super round tone. Very open sounding. And that's what you want with these pedals. Round tone, almost a blossom of sound, like an upright bass player. That's really what you're going for in many aspects. If you lay into it, other than the pedal sound, because my pedal makes a little noise lately, you're going to have some, you can definitely have some accents. You can play some funk if you need to. It's going to be still very round tone. There's not going to be any slaps. So I know it's a little difficult to hear some of these very, very specific things I'm talking about. All in all, I think the Lowboy guys have really hit this one out of the park as far as providing something that hasn't really existed. So the Vader Vintage Bomber was really the first one of these vintage beaters that came along, and it was the only game in town. It was okay. The next in line, it's actually a really good heavy one, is the Ludwig one. It's black felt, wood underneath. The problem is it doesn't last very long. Same thing with the Vintage Bomber. And to be honest, what have I had this? 6 to 8 months? It's in great condition. It's been in my cymbal bag. I've taken it on 2 tours. It's been on 2 or 3 albums. I probably played 30, 40 gigs with it. And then all the warm-ups here at the house, it's what just stays in the bass drum because it's quiet and it is lasting. And some of the other vintage beater style kinds of things don't typically last a long time, so I'm happy to see that. Anyways, I don't do just product reviews a lot, but I'm really into this and I wanted to do this. And I hope you got something out of it. Please email if you have any questions. Definitely answer more questions. Been on the mend from being sick. I guess it's the year of the flu. Anyways, I hope everybody is safe.